Hi, everyone. My name's Eugene Yeh, and I lead the growth team here within Android Enterprise. That's the team that's out there working with partners in the ecosystem to ensure that you can deploy Android successfully for your business. We're incredibly excited to talk to you today about how Android can transform your frontline worker experience. As more teams are working remotely, it's more important than ever to have the right tools in the hands of all of your employees. More than ever, the customer is at the center, and their expectations are rising. The hurdle to keep customers happy continues to rise as everyone becomes accustomed to having everything at their fingertips whenever they want it. Over 30% of customers said a single bad experience would cause them to stop doing business with a brand that they love. Over 40% would stop supporting a brand if they had a bad experience with either poorly informed employees or if they had just an inefficient experience at all. If you look at these numbers, a single misstep by almost any employee could cause a customer to flee. How can you be certain that everyone at your company is trained, enabled, and equipped to meet this high bar? For many companies, this starts on focusing on knowledge workers and the customer digital experience. However, for many customer experiences, the frontline worker is the worker that's actually in contact with the customer. When you go to a store to make a purchase, you're expecting that the shelves are stocked, the sales associates are helpful and informed, and that any assistance that you need is on time and of the highest quality. All of these require frontline workers to have the right tools. They need access to the latest buying trends and all the delivery models that you've spent millions of dollars developing. They need quick, reliable checkout capabilities, and they need to know that you know everything about them. All of this information needs to carry forward from the store all the way to the customer home. And unfortunately, many frontline workers are being left behind. While the knowledge worker environment has evolved in the last 5 years, frontline worker experiences have remained stagnant. Knowledge workers now have the power of the entire company at their fingertips. They have cloud and SaaS resources, productivity tools, and communication tools all available to them. All of the tools that have been made available to the enterprise market has been made for them. However, how do you make this apply to the frontline worker as well? A large problem here is that frontline workers are undermobilized. It's not surprising that their workplace experience hasn't changed when 90% of the company's mobility resources go towards knowledge workers. And despite this incredible need and opportunity to provide best in class experiences, frontline workers just aren't given the mobile devices or resources that they need in terms of being able to provide that experience to the end customer. So, how do you ensure in this world that you aren't exposing your business to the 30% of customers that would leave when they get a bad experience from your undermobilized frontline workers? As you can see from the Gartner report, this is starting to change. Customer centric organizations are now over investing and increasing their investments in the mobility of frontline workers. And let me give you an example of how this works in retail today. Like we covered earlier, companies have invested in infrastructure to improve the digital experience and to provide them with a 360-degree view of the customer. They know how to provide the right message at the right time to the right customer. They're pulling together data from ads, social media, buying habits, industry trends, and they know how to do this in order to engage the customer at a digital level. However, a lot of times this just doesn't reach the store. When you have all of this information for the customer and they walk into the store, they're expecting that to carry over. However, oftentimes the frontline worker just doesn't have a mobile device and therefore doesn't have access to all of that rich information. So imagine yourself as an end customer walking into a store, knowing that you are recommended to purchase a particular item and finding that it's out of stock, or finding that the customer service representative at the store isn't able to help you. That creates an incredibly large problem. In addition, that information of what they're doing in the store and interactions with the frontline associate are no longer populating your backend infrastructure. And so now your 360-degree view of the customer is missing critical information. So some retailers are beginning to try to solve this problem. They're looking at how they can begin to create that 360-degree view with the frontline worker as well. And how does that work? It starts with mobility. If you give a mobile device to a frontline worker and give them the right applications to be able to access the right corporate resources, you now enabled a digital to brick and mortar experience for the customer that they're expecting today. And now you're able to think through a customer journey everywhere from being at home on their phone all the way into your actual store, all the way back into their house. Because at the end of the day, The mobile device is just a presentation layer. It's a device that needs to be in the hands of employees. But what that means is with that device, they're now able to take action against data. The data that you've spent so much money aggregating and trying to parse into useful information can now be in their hands, and they can now take action against it in a way that creates real business impact for your customers. And Android can help here because of four distinct things. One is we're able to provide a wide variety of devices at all price points. This bleeds into rugged devices as well as knowledge devices. It covers tablets as well as smartphones. And finally, it also bleeds into specialized devices as well. And so you can be sure that Android provides the right device to the right worker for all use cases. And we can do this in four ways. We focus on security, manageability, innovation, and productivity. At Google, we've not only invested in the general Android platform, we've also invested in the framework that allows you to take Android into your enterprise and be sure that it's enterprise ready. From a security perspective, we focus on four layers. We look everywhere from the hardware layer to the operating system, up to Google Play Protect, and finally to management APIs. At the hardware layer, Android utilizes a trusted execution environment to ensure that all secure processes are run in an isolated environment and aren't compromised. At the operating system level, we ensure that all applications are sandboxed with SE Linux, and we push out security patches every 30 days so OEMs can keep their devices current and secure. When you worry about the applications, you can be sure that Google Play Protect is always on in the cloud and scanning all applications. And finally, from a management perspective, we provide the flexibility through APIs that allow you and your mobile device management software provider to be able to control the device in the way that you want and need. And all of this investment has been recognized by third parties as well. Gartner now rates Android as the most secure platform for mobile use cases. And finally, from an IT management perspective, we try to make it as easy as possible. We centralize a lot of this management into your EMM console. And within that console, you're able to provide a uniform, consistent experience across all of your devices, whether they be the rugged devices, the dedicated devices, knowledge worker devices, all get covered within the single EMM platform. You can set policies for applications. You can set policies for the device overall, for things such as passcodes. And you can delay or control updates onto the applications so that you can be sure that your business isn't interrupted in a critical time. And this covers a variety of use cases. Everything from BYOD to corporate-owned device where you want people to be able to use it personally from a work profile perspective, up onto dedicated device where it's a kiosk mode or a point-of-sale device that still provides you with the control that you want for a frontline worker, but also giving you the flexibility to incorporate your knowledge worker use cases into the same platform. And when you've thought about the right use cases, you think about enrollment. We've created a platform that allows you to enroll these devices at scale in a very simple manner. Everything from a zero-touch process down to a QR code or an NFC bump process are all available to you so you can be sure that all the devices that you have in your ecosystem are deployed consistently with the policies that you've dictated. And specifically for frontline workers, we've created some capabilities that are specific to those use cases. This includes things like being able to remote manage a device and have a device that can be shared amongst multiple users, and finally having a device that also is only specific to a single application. Because we know that in a lot of frontline use cases, you need to manage thousands, if not tens and hundreds of thousands of devices and employees, and you need to be able to do that in a scalable, straightforward manner. And finally, we know that sometimes it's difficult to build out the right solution set for you. That's why we've created a program called Android Enterprise Recommended that is a curated set of partners that can deliver everything from a device in the OEM world through to an EMM security solution, up through a managed service provider, all the way out to other services, including carriers. And so, how does this all play out in the real world for you? Well, the first thing that you look at is applications. One of the advantages of having a platform as flexible and easy to use as Android is that we are able to deliver faster application development with higher satisfaction. As you can see in this slide, we are able to save developers up to 2 months in the development cycle for a new application, while at the same time increasing satisfaction by more than 11% over other platforms. So, a specific example of this is the back of house worker. Again, a set of people that often aren't thought about when thinking about mobilization of a workforce. Supply chains today are becoming a huge competitive advantage. However, a lot of the investment, again, is done on the algorithms and models of how and where a package needs to go. But how do you get that into the hands of people who actually need to move those packages? It starts with mobilization again. Many of the organizations that have best in class supply chain management have empowered their workers with mobile devices and then have given them applications that tap into all of those algorithms we just talked about. With that, they're able to make real time decisions at the point of stocking in order to be able to make a decision around where a package needs to go. And that then feeds back into the system, again, in a virtuous cycle that allows you to have real time information on your logistics and where assets actually are. As you can see, Walmart Labs implemented this solution, and it's allowed them to increase the velocity and efficiency of their infrastructure as well. The next step is the front of house worker. After the package gets out of your infrastructure from your warehouse out into the retail storefront, you want to be sure that those store associates also have access to the same information. And so what we've seen here is a lot of organizations have taken on the mobilization of those workers as well. With that device, similar to the back of house systems, they're able to access the same corporate resources to ensure that that platform of information is also up to date everywhere from manufacturing through to the warehouse out to the retail store. And now you have, again, a complete view of where your packages are and where things need to be routed. Because ultimately, when a customer comes into a store and isn't able to find what they need, the business impact and customer satisfaction impact is huge. And as you can see from the quote from Home Depot, who has continued to invest in mobilizing their front of house workers, they see this as an incredibly strategic asset for them to be able to ensure that items that customers want are always in stock. And when you've made this investment in mobilizing your back of house and front of house, you now can start tapping into things and advanced capabilities such as AR and VR. So, what Home Depot has been thinking about as an example is being able to do digital recognition and image recognition of items to see if they're placed in the right area or if they need to go to other areas. They can also see if things are out of stock in real time. Again, all of this enables the customer experience to improve because now they're not waiting for a store associate to solve all of these problems on a reactive basis. And finally, how do you take this, the last leg, all the way into the home of the customer? You need your field service workers, whether they be delivery individuals or whether they be people who are providing services to the home, to be empowered with mobile access as well. Because when they have mobile access, they're more productive and can provide real-time support to the customers that you want to serve. As an example, for Australia Post, with the mobilization of their workers, they're able to have a tenfold increase in the amount of parcels they can deliver and the speed and efficiency under which they deliver them. And so if you imagine yourself as an end customer, being able to get the package that you want on the day that it says is going to be incredibly important and a positive experience for you. And all of that, again, requires that the frontline worker, the back of house worker, and the person who's actually providing the field service are all on the mobile platform and all able to tap into the same corporate resource. Because when you have that, when you have everyone all mobilized, you now as an organization can tap into all of the things that can really take your business to the next level. And this includes AR, VR, conversational tools like Dialogflow. All of these are available to you through the Android and Google platforms. and allow you to build applications and services for your workers and for your customers that can have a huge transformative impact. And finally, what about your actual internal employees outside of the frontline workers? They also get a benefit from using Android. Specifically, the first thing that people often have issues with is the privacy aspect. They're worried that when they take their device into work or when they're using a device at work, corporate IT can see everything that they have. And corporate IT also has a concern that they're liable for personal data. They don't want to be the one responsible for wiping someone's photos or someone's contact information when it's not a corporate resource. And so the fundamental approach that Android and Google have taken is to have a separation between work and personal applications and data. This doesn't mean that it's not secure. It means that there's privacy granted to the end user so that they know that their device is separated and that the photos that they have of their kids won't get commingled with the photos that they need to take of their whiteboard for work. And this philosophy allows you as an IT administrator to be more thoughtful around creating uniform mobile policies from everyone from your knowledge workers out into your frontline workers. In addition, this extends further into the application world. Android as a platform is flexible enough to give you a fantastic enterprise experience for first-party applications such as Gmail, but we also integrate seamlessly with other applications and service providers such as Salesforce and ServiceNow. All of this is designed to help you bring your employees from zero to productive in the fastest means possible. And again, this is designed also to cover everything from your knowledge worker out to your back of house workers, to your front of house workers, to your field service workers, so that you can look across your enterprise on a single platform and understand that you can build mobility into how you do business, top to bottom. So I hope you've been able to get a feel for how Android can help you and your business enable your frontline worker, and really appreciate you taking all the time to listen to what we have to say about enabling your business to actually transform from a mobility perspective. Because when you select Android, please know that you have selected the most flexible platform possible. You've been able to select a platform that is the highest rated from a security perspective platform, as well as a platform that allows you to select development tools that bring new applications to your business. Thank you.